Live.
All right, guys, welcome back.
What's going on?
Market Mondays.
Yes, first Monday of the month.
Top of the top. A lot to talk about.
Be back.
You exhausted? We starting like that, man. Back to back. It's a sensitive topic, man.
Shout out to the boy.
Rizzy.
Shout out to the boy.
Shout out to both gentlemen for one
All
of the
combatants.
most historic weekends ever in hip hop that I could think of.
K-Dot.
I agree.
A lot of music.
Drizzy.
Yeah. It's over with, Rashad.
Well, we'll talk about it later on because I think there are some valuable business lessons out
Absolutely.
that you can actually really gain a lot of insight and valuable information from. So I definitely want to talk about that later. But we got a lot to talk about.
There's a lot going on
today for sure. A lot happening in the world and in the market. So first and foremost, big episode for Earn Your Leisure. Tomorrow, we have the Vice President, Kamala Harris. And we did that conversation with her live in Atlanta last Monday. So we're going to put that out as an episode tomorrow. We talked, it was strictly an economic conversation, half an hour economics. So we didn't talk about foreign policy. We didn't talk about a variety of different things so I'm just letting you guys know that early. We talked about student loans. We talked about access to capital.
Housing.
We talked about housing. We talked about the administration's economic plan, specifically for Black people. We talked about what are they doing for entrepreneurs and small business owners. A lot of great insight when it comes to econ. So that is a very interesting conversation. We are journalists, so I think we kept journalistic integrity. But it's an important conversation, obviously, whenever you can speak to one of the most powerful people in the world and the second most powerful politician in the American political system. I think that it's important to have the conversation, right? And regardless of your political views or who you're going to vote for, that you can vote for whoever you want. But at the very least, you should be informed of the candidates' top topics, talking points, how they feel about different things, and that's something that you should at least have some level of information on. So that's a big episode tomorrow. We're changing the time. It's going to be at 5:00 Eastern Standard Time. 5:00 Eastern Standard Time.
The OGs can recall.
Yes.
The OGs can recall.
Vice President.
Will it be like 5:15 LA time, or will it be White House time? Is there some Easter eggs in there?
For sure. So check that out tomorrow, 5:00, and then we back with Blackout on Wednesday at 10:00 Eastern Standard Time, and there's a lot to talk about for Blackout for sure.
Wait. Can we have a moment for a second? You spoke about the First Lady. So I have to acknowledge my First Lady. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday to my beautiful wife, Danielle. She told me to tell everyone that she is turning 35 again. So happy birthday to her. Go show us some love.
Danielle.
And thank you for allowing me to be here with the good people here on Market Mondays. We appreciate that. Thank you.
That is a blessing. Thank you, Daddy. I appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Happy birthday. Yes. Sure. Happy birthday.
That's a fact.
Blackout, 10:00 Eastern Standard Time this Wednesday. A lot to talk about, a lot to cover, obviously. And get your tickets to InvestFest. We'll be announcing the lineup very soon. We're working on this. And
y'all can stop texting me. I don't know. I mean to cut you off, Rashad, but stop texting me. I don't know. They haven't told me. What's the Cash App? I'm like, I don't know.
We'll be announcing the lineup soon. And outside of the lineup, we got some other cool new ideas that we're going to be implementing this year in InvestFest. So
that'll be dope.
Get your tickets at investfest.com for that. And it's gonna be a lot. This episode we're gonna cover a lot in this episode. So I don't want to waste too much time at the beginning. Ian, any announcements?
Yes, if I made you money, please put yes in chat. To all my good folks over in Toronto, I love you. To my LA folks, Rants, DJ Head, y'all quit texting me. I love y'all too. Leave my phone alone. If you want to get rich from the market, join the stock club. We had an amazing call yesterday, and prices will be out by Wednesday at 7 p.m. So before Blackout comes out, we'll give you the blueprint to get rich. And then on Blackout, we'll teach you how to not lose it by getting finessed. Love y'all.
Let's play.
So that's the other part of the equation.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Oh, man. Y'all know how this goes.
Why y'all want to talk about messy topics? Y'all build a bag and then lose it to Bernie's sister.
Facts.
Come on, man.
Facts.
You got to keep the bag.
Keep the bag. Stay in your bag. Y'all know how this works, man. Do your own research on all things, please. On all things. Do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important that you do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. This is a message, as always, brought to you by the good brothers at Earn Your Leisure and the good brother Ian Dunlap, the master investor himself. Continue to do the research. Pay homage to those who showed you the research and share it, man. That's how we build community. That's how we build it.
I'm back to the suits in June too.
Back to the suits. Shout out to everybody that was encouraging of the suit look last week. Was our
fire, yo.
Yeah, do what we can.
Happy birthday to 19 Keys.
Yes,
absolutely.
Happy birthday to Keys. Yeah. We got a few birthdays. I'll shout them out at the end.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So let's talk about Starbucks. So, all right. Considering Starbucks stock decline from $126 in 2021 to 73 roughly today, is this a signal of diminishing popularity, or is it an opportunity to invest?
I think it's a combination. We were talking before we start recording about not losing the trust of the people. I think all brands, listen up, across America, stop taking Black people for granted. I go back to when that one person got mistreated over not being able to use the bathroom. That was the start of a gradual decline when a lot of us said, okay, we won't shop there anymore. I do believe that if we're not being treated fairly by brands, that we should weaponize our dollars and not spend. Then they turn around, as Target did, as a few other companies did, and tried to target the LGBTQ plus community to make up for the losses of sales from us. Didn't work. Conservative investors left as a result. Howard Schultz probably is going to need to come back. Again, can that boy, I keep telling you, there's no such thing as freedom. Like, once you get past a certain level, if things are not going right, you got to come back. So now it's at a price point where I almost like it. Maybe if it gets to like $63, I wouldn't mind buying it. I do like the company, but the service needs to improve. I said it on the stock club call yesterday, going back to you guys' point about Instagram being one of the biggest competitors. Starbucks used to be a third home, a place where you can go after work just to do work. But if I'm Black and I'm going to get the police called on me for trying to use a bathroom, a lot more attention is being eaten up by digital platforms. And people and products are not as good. Service is not as good. The stores are not as clean. So I think they need to bring Schultz back, even though he doesn't want to. I'm bullish on the company. Definitely if he gets to $63, I love it. 65, I love it. But I think they have a whole bunch of cultural issues that they need to fix and not just put a Band-Aid on it. I know y'all did that one training for one day when you shut the store down and told every employee not to be racist. It's not enough. It's not enough.
I'm glad you brought up that point. It's a valid point because that did happen and that was the response to it. But it leads to the overall theme of boycotting and what has happened. And I mean, they could try to run from it, but the publications have all Newsweek, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post. Their response to the conflict in between Gaza and Israel has weighed on the company. Right, they were claiming they supported Israel and funded its military operations during the conflict. That hasn't helped. What has happened inside of the Middle East region, which is interesting because they have stores there, people have boycotted. 2,000 jobs have been cut. Store sales have gone down. That is a problem, right? Their response to that has been a problem. The competitive advantage is another problem, What is the competitive advantage? I'm not an avid coffee drinker. I know plenty of them. I worked with plenty of them. But if a person cannot have Starbucks, does that mean they can't have coffee anymore? No, they'll go to Dunkin' Donuts. They'll go.
Big facts.
Right? Or they'll have somebody making it at the office, or they'll have somebody brewing it at their home. So that competitive advantage is kind of interesting. The other point, I'm glad you brought Howard Schultz up because they asked him about it. He said that the company needs to improve its mobile order and pay experience. Hasn't been great if you've ever tried to work with Starbucks.
And the Starbucks point system it's a
joke.
Dogecoin.
Yeah, like I've been there a few times and ordered something and got to the window. I'm like, I'm sorry, we don't have it. I'm like, well, why'd you let me order it? Right.
Yep.
And then they said how they create new drinks. Right. And that's interesting because it's like, what is the marketing campaign that goes into creating a new drink other than if you don't walk in the store, you see it?
Yeah.
There really isn't any ad for it. You really built the company on experience. It was an experience. I remember when it was like, oh, you can go there. It's a place to meet. It's a social gathering place. It's free Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But everybody has that now. So now what is the experience when you get to the store? And then the other part is they're trying to figure out premium items to set them apart from the competitors.
It's tough.
Inside of that business, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a expert on the coffee brewing process, but I'm not. What is the premium item inside of it that they can create? I guess that's one of the things that they'll have to figure out, which is what Schultz is saying, and probably why he might have to come back another time to take over and come up with some innovative ideas to get this company going back forward. Because that's a pretty swift drop from 130 to 73. And if you look at the earnings over the past couple of quarters, it hasn't been great. So how do you get this company going back in the right direction? It's going to take innovation. It's going to take some PR. It's going to take some marketing. But like you said, I don't think it's not over for Starbucks. It's not going anywhere. No, but they need some help.
And then when you have a competitor like McDonald's that owns the real estate, go watch the Ray Kroc movie, amazing movie. So you're beat there on profits because they own the real estate. Also, Starbucks was Soho House before Soho House got popular. Now, if I have to pick between going to Soho House and Starbucks, I keep saying everyone on earth is your competitor. I'm so glad. Like, did you hear? We'll get to in a future trading tip later. But I was like, please, God, don't let Kendrick drop a future trading tip in one of these disses, y'all. Because I'm seeing people navigate in the spaces that they know. Like, I don't know if you guys saw The Rock's doing MMA now.
I saw that.
At some point, maybe there'll be a merger of an event between WWE and UFC. They have a lot of competition. I don't know what premium experience they can deliver, what premium product, because you're not going to go there for a dining experience. And I don't want to pay for a $50 breakfast item or $40 breakfast item when inflation is going up. But for all companies in corporate America, stay out of these political events. Please stay out of them. Like, they mishandled the issue in the Middle East, mishandled the issue with us. The LGBTQ issue did not work. Serve the coffee, make the coffee better. Go find some COINTELPRO crack that you can put in there to get people addicted. But they have a bunch. They got a bunch of Kava's on the rise, Chipotle's on the rise, kicking your ass by a landslide. It's tough, man. It's tough. And the great part that we talked about before and finding a successor, which we talked about last week, they never planned a great enough job to find who was going to lead when Howard isn't there. How many times can Jordan come back and play for the Wizards to save the league? Let Howard enjoy his time.
Yeah. Not Jordan on the Wizards is so bad. Let's say like Brady on the Bucks or something. He actually won.
That's true. Jordan was good on the Wizards, though. We're not going to do that.
I mean, he averaged 20.
And Anthony Edwards doing that. Shout to A.
Yo, that boy different.
That boy going crazy. Profit margin for Starbucks 11%, operating margin 15%. Not bad for the retail space. Institutional ownership is 70%, which is not bad. But when people fall out of love with you, going back to the Drake thing that we talked about, and you mishandle, like, you're going to have a generation of people in the Middle East that are never going to shop with their brand again.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, I did the research on it, right? The Middle East stores, like I said, the sales decline double digits, right? The fact that there've been claims that they supported Israel is interesting because they were inside of Israel in 2003. They took all the shops out and said it wasn't making sense business wise, which is interesting.
Why is it interesting?
Well, if you're supporting the military, why not have your business there? Allegedly.
I don't think it's about business.
So I said it's interesting.
What do you think it's about?
Personal interest in what they think is right,
or who this
and what they think is wrong,
or who their CEO is as well.
That's personal interest.
Yeah.
So you can support but not have your business there.
Yeah, I don't think a lot. I mean, you look at a variety of different people that support different things. It's not necessarily just about how much money they can make from it. They firmly believe that this is the right thing that they should be doing, right? For a variety of different reasons, but yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So
CEO Laxman Narishman calls Mark Zuckerberg, see if he got some jobs available. Yours will be gone soon. It's tough.
Shortly. At this rate.
Pick up the phone.
At this rate.
Hit the like button.
LinkedIn.
Yes.
And share. Ladies and gentlemen.
Executive headhunter for real.
Update your profile on LinkedIn, sir.
You're working a half day inside the Starbucks store. It's like, bro, it's cute. You try to do the Warren Buffett, go to Dairy Queen, but you need to be in the office figuring out how to get the cultural stuff together first. Like, and another person, while we canceling people, Vlad, you're nasty.
But with that, I'm not even. Nope.
Okay.
Not at all. I didn't like that being. Nope.
Bro.
That's what happens when
you're trying to get a black woman fired. That's true. That's a great point. Empowering the wrong people. You're trying to get somebody fired over a rap tape, bro. Okay.
They're not like us. That's
what happens when you empower people. But
yeah,
I'm sure that some rapper or C-list comedian / actor will be on his show next week to talk about a bunch of nonsense from the 1980s and 90s.
C-list is high.
That's funny, yo.
That's pretty high.
Some people never learn. Hit the like button and share. We will be talking about stock options very shortly. Let the momentum build. But first, I want to talk about Apple.
Yes, my baby.
Apple announces last week, they announced the largest stock buyback ever, $110 billion. And that's despite iPhone sales dropping 10%. Stock went up around 6% boost. It kind of settled after that, but it's it's kind of moving in the right direction. If you look at this 1 month chart, right? Back hovering around 180. 52-week high was 199. So does this signal that Apple is back on track?
Go ahead, Ian. Or did we just put a mask on this thing?
I think that it was a good move. This is the theme of this week. Good move, but not good enough. I like the buyback. What I would have loved to have seen, new phone or plan for a new phone. To buy back the shares, great for investors to signal that, hey, I still believe in my own company, believe in my stock. Great. The core issue, though, of the phone sales not being strong, it's not fixed. So you're putting like duct tape over an ocean leak. I like that the stock went up as a result. I'm still bullish on it long term, but until that core issue is fixed, I'm not hyper bullish on it how I want to be. Same like with the Drake thing. I want to be like, yo, Drake did it. Family Matters was good. That was the buyback. It was cool. It was not great. I think the biggest lesson that we're learning from this and Starbucks, we'll talk about Disney later, You have to have products and services that are so amazing that your customer base cannot afford to not have them. Same with InvestFest. They haven't told me who the headline is going to be. I can probably guess. But where else are you going to see these people in our community talk about how they're actually building their businesses? They've had billionaires every year. I'm assuming somebody off the billionaire list is going to be there this year, right? So I think Apple got comfortable. I know they're doing things with AI. I know Siri will be updated. This is the 10-year anniversary of that being acquired. Great acquisition. But until they fix this and make this better, I think it's a Band-Aid over a cut that really needs surgery. But what do you guys think?
I think it's interesting. I'm with you on your take. I think the move may have been a little bit predictable. I would imagine if they didn't do the buyback and if they didn't increase the dividend, what would the stock have done?
Oh, Nelly going down, baby.
Right. And so if I know that's gonna, if I already have the numbers, I know that the iPhone sales are down. I know services were okay, MacBook was okay, iPad was, yeah. If I know that's coming, how do I get ahead of it? How do I get ahead of it? I have to do something that's going to have my shareholders feel confident in the company going forward. We haven't really talked about AI yet. Everybody's waiting for June 7th. We're not ready to talk about or give you any. Well, he did say on the phone call that they're making leadways in that area of artificial intelligence. But the anticipation of a down quarter again, decline in sales in the iPhone, I think it was predictable. Yeah, they had to do something.
They had to do this.
They bought back shares, which obviously increases the value of the remaining shares. They're going to go up. So yeah, it did go up over 180. I'm interested to see what comes in June, man. I'm always going to be, well, I shouldn't say always. I'm definitely bullish on Apple. I'm just interested in what is going to happen. I think I feel like when we watched the NVIDIA report after they had that blowout quarter and it felt like, oh my gosh, can they do it again? Can they do it again? That build up of let's see if they can do it. I feel like that type of atmosphere, that type of temperature around this June 7th announcement is brewing. What is it going to be? How innovative is it going to be? And where is it going to in the future for the company? So I'm watching it closely. I'm looking I'm looking for tea leaves. I'm looking for something, even the hints. You know, sometimes they start releasing things early. You go to these these websites or these iPhone websites.
Yeah.
Some like preview or details that got hacked and leaked. Haven't seen anything yet. But I'm anticipating this, and I'm sure they are as well.
Even a 5% jump for the stock, that's too aggressive of a move for a multi-trillion-dollar company. Even today, it's pulling back some as a result. It should pull back to maybe 172 as a result. I still love the stock long term. I'm just not super bullish about it. If it gets back to 164, it's definitely a buy again. But they have to make a strong announcement in June. Like, I haven't seen Markwell talk about anything like the tech influencers. You have to create, and I think they're going through the same moment that Zuckerberg went through in 2022, where like your back is against the wall. You have to reshift focus on what matters most. I think they're trying to scramble and figure things out now. I think they'll get it together by next year, but this summer is going to be interesting for them to say the least. Because even Apple fanboys are tired of the same phone. Like, you know, it's bad when your core audience is like, no, I'm gonna stay with the 12. Yeah, I'm gonna stay with the 13.
Yeah, and they were talking about the ad business. They were talking about the revenue from that. But when you think about it, we spoke about Google maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Most of that money's coming from Google.
Yep.
So you're talking about $1 billion transaction that they're going to have, or they're going to split between 4 quarters. They're all, that's good. That's going to be reliant in there. But if this antitrust thing doesn't go through, then what happens?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
bringing Super Mario Brothers back to the App Store won't do it.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to do it. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking right here at a Barron's article. It literally says buy Apple ahead of its AI news at developers conference. Everybody's waiting, and the analysts are waiting too. So I guess we'll be waiting as well.
And the AI improvement has to be integrated into Siri. If they just do moderate AI into, and then shit, GPT-5's coming out soon. You have some serious competitors right now.
Claude is now an app. It's no longer just on the desktop. Now you have the app.
Yep.
So Anthropic is there. So
what product do you think they need to move the needle? They can't keep re-rocking the same product over and over again.
Yeah. Oh, let me think on that one.
And I'm low-key, I don't want to Easter egg nothing, but the idea that they have for the stocks, they should have invested in that too and not put that to the side. They messed up on a car project, put the stock app to the side. It's like, bro, you got to think these things through. But
so let's do this. Let's talk about stock options.
Yes.
So, I said a couple months ago, I wanted to kind of give education as well as takes on different news topics and stuff like that. So real life education is always beneficial, and things that happen in real time. So today we're going to take some time out to have a presentation on stock options and the benefits and, different ways that you could potentially make money using and buying stock options.
Yeah. I think.
Are you gonna give them the Market Mondays live treatment?
Yeah, well, what I think is important. I think it's important is sometimes you got to go on the mission with the person to really see how this thing goes, right? And so it's important because there's details that could get missed, there's research that can get missed, and so if we take you on the mission, it becomes more streamlined. You can see actually how this thing was thought about, how it was played. Now I know a lot of times we talk about leaps, but I said, you know what? A couple of weeks ago, we talked about a company and we said that we did a short-term play on it and it didn't work in our favor. And I was like, you know what? Rather than saying, let's gloss over that, let's skip that, let's show them how we can correct that. Let's do it again. Let's see what we learned from our mistakes from the last time. And let's see if we can correct them and have a positive outcome this time. And so that's what we have for you here today, y'all. All right, so let's get into some things. Obviously, y'all know we're going to be talking about some options trading. This Thursday, make sure y'all tap in. We're going to go over a lot inside of the world of options because there is a lot to go over. And we want to make sure that everybody's prepared if they're going to be in the space. We want to give you the most information as possible so that you can make an educated decision. So make sure y'all tap in. Shout out to everybody that's been part of the first two master classes. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate all the feedback. But we're going a little bit deeper into the dive this Thursday. So make sure y'all tap in. All right, so here we go. All right, so we're going to talk about a company that we've been speaking about since October. Like I said, we talked about this in Chicago. But the reason I wanted to come back to it is because a few weeks ago on Market Mondays, we spoke about how we had a short-term loss. Now, I didn't really take it as a loss only because I had made profits on some other investments I made with HubSpot. I used some of those proceeds to invest in a short-term option play. It didn't work out. Shadi reminds me about it probably every other week. So I said, you know what? Rather than finding a new position, let's show how we can learn, how we can execute, and how we can actually make profit off of the same stock, but just having more information, more resources, and a better plan. And so today we're going to talk about the plan that I used and show you how that plan worked out. And so for those who are not familiar, HubSpot is a customer platform that offers enterprise software for marketing, sales, customer service, content management, operations, and commerce. And so what it is a CRM, right? So it focuses on small, medium, and large businesses. And why that is important is because look at its competitors. We know Salesforce. That's huge. We're talking about corporate accounts. But sometimes in business, and we've said this a multitude of times, is that sometimes when you're smaller, you're able to maneuver a little bit with more freedom, right? This is still a big company. I think 35 billion is the cap. And so it's not a mega cap, but it has made some substantial gains over the past 10 years. And so the fact that it's not trying to go after every customer, it's going after specific customers, mainly entrepreneurs and people who have small to medium businesses. This is actually working for them. This has had them reporting great quarters for the past 2 years. I'm going to go to that in a little bit. All right, so here's his competitors. Like I said, Salesforce, MailChimp, Pipedrive, and Zoho. Some of these companies you may have heard of, some of you may not have. That's okay. I just wanted to give you the picture of who they're up against. All right, so this is my strategy, and I should have been disciplined with it the first couple of times I did short term. Like I said, usually I don't. I like to go leaps, maybe a year and a half to 2 years out, just because it gives me a lot of time as a valuable asset. But I said, you know what? A lot of people are looking, how can I make income today? How can I make $100, $200? I said, let me come up with a strategy that would be beneficial for people who are trying to do short-term trading. And so here's how I'm evaluating if I'm doing short-term. First thing I want to know is, what direction is the chart signaling? All right. So I'm going to look at a chart. I'm going to see if it has positive momentum moving up, or if it has negative momentum moving down. Like, this could be a great indicator, because it's going to show me a few things, whether I'm at a peak and it's not time to buy, or it might have hit a point of depreciation that says, okay, now's my time to get in. Second thing I got to do is look at the economic factors that are in play. So what does that mean? That means, and this is what I didn't do last time because I wasn't being as disciplined as I should have. Quadruple witching was happening during the time I did those short-term options. And I said, oh my gosh, there's going to be a sell-off. Why did I do that? But I was already in the call. So this time I said, look, I want to make sure that, is witching happening? No. Is PPI coming out? Is CPI coming out? No. Well, what is coming out? Well, last week we had the jobs report. I'm going to tell you why that is important. All right. We're going to see how that played a role into me making a decision into investing into this call. And so I want to look at the economic factors. Okay. Check. Last thing is the 40% depreciation. Like, this sounds crazy, but if we were listening to Mr. Rogers last week, he said it to us. He said, when he's looking at equity, like when he's looking at equity, I'm looking at an option, right? He said that he wants to see a 40% decline. And I'm like, yes, that's the number. That's the number I want to see. And so I'm always looking for calls that have depreciating value, because that means that there's room for growth on the upside. And so I like to see the number around 40. If I get something more than 40, now I'm really interested. I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. All right, so let's go over the first piece of evaluation, and that's the chart. All right, so here's HubSpot's chart, right? And if we're looking at it, it's moving averages here. We got the 50, we got the 100, we got the 200, but I'm going to focus on the 50-day, all right? I'm going to focus on the 50-day. So I'm going to go start back here. How many times does it come near or touch that 50-day? And for those of you who have a big screen TV or you're in your computer, the 50-day is this purple line that's moving throughout this Bollinger Band. So that's the 50-day. And so in late November, it comes near it and it moves higher. Okay, I'm watching this pattern, right? Then in late February, right, we come all the way down here, right? It hits it again, and then it moves higher. And then it moves in March, again, touches it, and it moves higher. In April, we saw a huge spike. Now, the huge spike happens to be the time that there was a potential partnership between HubSpot and Google. Google was interested, or allegedly interested, in purchasing HubSpot. And so that had the equity move up in stock price. And so it jumped all the way up to 693 intraday, and it kind of settled around 386. But then it pulled back. And so we pulled back again, right back down into its 50. Now, something very important happens, right? So when it falls back in late April, it moves slightly higher. But then the start of this month, May 1st, we watched it go below the 50-day. And why is that important to me, right? Because if I'm watching this cycle on the 50-day, 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 touch it, go up, touch it, go up, touch it, move higher, touch slightly higher, right? Now it touches it, and now we're talking about support. So it dropped below that 50-day moving average support line. And so now I'm looking at a stock that is falling. This tells me, if this is a company that I believe in, it's a company that I've been watching, this might be a point that I can now enter the position, okay? Because we don't want to buy high, right? We want to buy low and sell high. All right, so let's go to the next piece. All right, so that's the first piece. The chart is telling me where the company is moving. I'm looking at those signals. The next thing is the economic factor. So what should we expect on the jobs report? So on Thursday, I'm looking at myself, all right, okay, well, what are they saying? What are the estimates saying? Why is this important? Well, here's why it's important. So an economic slowdown that could help ease inflation and trigger interest rate cuts. That's the news that we're looking for. And what does that mean? Because most people are like, I don't even know what they're saying. Well, here's what it means. If less people are employed, and this is the unfortunate circumstance when we're talking about the economy, if less people are unemployed, there'll be less capital to spend. If there's less capital spent, that will encourage the Fed to lower interest rates. lower interest rates are great for all businesses, but even more so for tech companies because it makes it easier for those companies to get funding, spur investment in innovation projects, and broaden the market. And so when we're looking at the unemployment numbers, if they come in high, that won't be a great sign. Why? Because it tells the Fed that people are still spending at an alarming rate. So we have to keep the rates the way they are. If less people are getting jobs, there's less capital, less spending. Okay, maybe we should cut rates. So this is Thursday of last week. The expectations for the job number is to be between 230 to 275,000 jobs created. So there goes my second piece of information, right? I looked at what the chart was doing. Then I'm looking at the economic factors. So once I looked at the economic factors, I'm saying, okay, well, let's go to a place where we can now see the options, right? So if I saw it pull down to 592 at the time, and this is where it was Thursday, I said, well, let me see an option in that range, right? So if it was trading at 592, let's go from 580, let's go all the way up to 660. And so I click my strikes. I want to see 11 of them, and I want to see them around 630 is a decent number, right? Because we've seen it at that point in early April, mid-April as well. And here's the alarming thing, right? The first thing that I notice is, wait, there's an open interest, right? And where am I looking at that number? Right here, right? It says 2,118 open interest at 650. Well, that tells me something. That tells me that people are looking at this 650 number. Now, if you were in the stock class at the first session, we talked about using AI as a component to help you figure out where your strike price should be. And from what all analysts said, they said the strike price by the end of the year should be 680. And so the 650 shouldn't feel unfamiliar to you, or even feel alarming to you, right? So we're looking at that. All right, I'm looking at the bid for it. Right now, this is obviously a later date, but when I was looking at Thursday, it was a little bit low, and I'll show you what it was. But this open interest is like, okay, I like this. 2,000 people. There's 2,000 open interest in there. Let's dig deeper. So I dig into the details. Let's hit the detail button, see what comes up. All right. So when you hit the detail button, here's what you're going to look at. It's going to tell you the exact call at the exact price and the expiration date. So the expiration date is May 17th, which is not very long, right? That's next week. Right. So here's what the underlying price and volatility of this equity. Right. So we're watching the equity. It started here, and we can see over the past couple of days, past couple of weeks, where it now sank up until this mark right here, May 2nd. This is when it's trading at 592. And I'm like, oh, perfect. This might hit a number that I like. Now, this is for the equity, right? That's if you're buying the stock. But we're not buying the stock, right? We're buying the contract. And so the next slide is going to show us what the option price is. Now here's the golden goose right here. And so if I'm looking at this slide correctly, I'm looking at the option price, and I see on April 11th, this option, this call at 650 was trading at $49.99, right? So that's about $5,000 a contract. Well, it goes back into my rule. My rule is 40%. So if I'm at 40%, this is easy math. Let's round that up to 50. Half of that would be 25. That means that if it's at 25, that's half. A little bit more of that, so it's $28. And it got down there, right? Got down there at the beginning of the month. So May 1st, it was sitting at that 25. And I said, let's just be patient because it could go even lower, right? This jobs thing could really affect it. It's a tech company. It might pull back even lower. So we wait a day. And then what happens the next day? It drops down to 13. So now we're not talking 40% anymore. Now we're talking 70% depreciation. Now I'm even more interested. So I'm like, okay, there's something here, right? Now this is very intentional, right? Because like I said, we like to do leaps, but I want to show people with this type of strategy, if you're super intentional and you're patient, it could also work. So I told you at 40% decline, I'm interested. That option price fell from $49.99 on April 11th to 13 just 3 weeks later, right? So last Thursday fell to a market decline, 70%. Now I really like this position. So the next thing I do is, all right, well, let me get some more data on what to expect. So I go to estimize.com. estimize.com. Why do I go there? Because I want to see when they're going to report it, when the company's going to be reporting, and what the revenue is going to look like, the earnings per share is going to look like for the quarter. And so I use Estimize all the time, right? And it tells me the next time they're going to report is in 2 days. So that means that they're going to be reporting on Wednesday. Great. Let's see how they performed over the past 8 quarters. Well, let's see what Wall Street expected from them, and let's see what actually happened. All right. So we saw revenue growth. We saw revenue growth. We saw revenue growth. We saw revenue growth. You see the pattern? Revenue growth, revenue growth, revenue growth. In fact, Wall Street again is expecting revenue growth for the quarter that is about to be reported. That tells me that's another positive sign, right? The analysts have said here, there are people who are on SMIs, they're saying as well that there's going to be revenue growth. Great. So what do? I execute. I don't play around, right? I saw the 70%. I know the economic factors, right? If the job report comes in 230 to 275, great. That means we're at a steady pace. If it comes in lower, even better, right? That means that the jobs are slowing down, which means capital will slow down, which means spending will slow down, which means the Fed might say, all right, maybe we'll cut rates. So I execute. And this is the reason I did this, right? Usually I do more calls, but I want to show people that you don't have to have $100,000. You don't have to have $25,000. I bought 4 calls, right? At $13.50. That really means, and if you're in the options world, that means that you're paying $1,350 per contract, right? So I bought 4 calls. This happened on May 2nd. This last week, Thursday. I execute. Let's see what happens. What's the result of that execution? All right. The news comes out Friday. Employers hired 175,000 workers in April. That's great news. Why? Well, had the number come in higher than March, which was the previous month, we would have had a sell-off, right? The confidence in rate cuts this year would have come into question, right? So if there was going to be no rate cuts, then we would have seen the market come down a bit, in my assumption. Now, I'm not an economist, but that is my educated assumption that would have happened if that number came in. Let's say 500,000 jobs were created, right? If there was more creation, more capital, more money in circulation, the Fed would have never looked at that and said, all right, well, we need to cut rates. That didn't happen. It actually came in lower than expectations. And so thankfully it didn't. And in return, we saw there was an uptick in the market on Friday. So when you're talking about economic factors playing a role in the market, this is exactly how it works. It played a role. We saw an uptick on Friday. We saw an uptick today. Now, when I bought that call, HubSpot was trading at $592. And so that's what the stock was trading at, $592. When the market opened today, it was at 610. By noon, it got down to 609. It's hovering around that 609, 610 number, right? But that's for the stock. And so we saw a movement of about $18, right? But on the option side, let's see what we're able to pull off. There we go. There we go. We watched in 2 days, right? And from a really detailed research look into a company, knowing its history, watching its chart. In 2 days, we were able to gain 74% on our investment. Now, is it easy? No. Is it calculated? 1,000%, right? With strategy, with discipline, with focus, this is obtainable, all right? So the key thing is to have your strategy, but more importantly, execute, right? Didn't take me $100,000 to do it. Didn't take me $25,000 to do it. I bought 4 contracts at maybe $1,300, right? But that money has now grown by 73%. And of course, since it's short term, I took my profit. I took my profit because I just wanted to show you that it is possible and it's doable. You have to execute. You have to execute. You must execute. Appreciate y'all. Well,
there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Gotta execute.
Hey, man.
Wonderful presentation.
Gotta execute, man.
It's all about information. And, the good thing with stock options is that you don't need a lot of money to make a lot of money, right? Because it's a risk reward ratio. So you have to be careful. You don't want to put money that you don't bet the house on next week's Tesla call. But if done right, if you have the proper education, I mean, you can make a pretty substantial amount of money in a short period of time. When you're talking about like, you know, a 70% rate of return, 100% rate of return, 200% rate of return. What's the most that you've ever had as far as rate of return?
1,800%.
NVIDIA last year?
I had a NVIDIA this year got up to like 1,700. I think I had an SMH in 21. That was yeah, crazy.
So yeah, so you know, it's one of these things, right? So the options has become very popular over the last couple of years, but a lot of people lose money in options. Most people lose money in options, and I think a lot of it just goes down to emotion and education. Emotionally doing things that just aren't rational, and then not properly educated on how to actually strategically navigate the field. So it's not something that you can just play around with. Like if you're going to do options, you shouldn't put probably more than at least 10% of your portfolio into options, and then B, you should be well equipped, right? It's like going to war. Like you should be well equipped and educated on what you're actually doing. But the good thing about it, like I said, is that if you have a few home runs in this situation, you could, you know, potentially change your life off of options quicker than if you just invested in long-term stocks. So not to say you should always invest in long-term stocks, but it gives you leverage to kind of accelerate, you know, money with short money as opposed to, you know, not having that option. So options, obviously, something that we spoke about a lot. And for the last couple of months, we've been doing something at EY University. We've been doing the options masterclass. And, you know, it's been such a big hit that we've gotten so many people that have signed up. I realized that a lot of people, they kind of need everything from like A to Z with options, right? And then it's like, okay, now let's move forward. Now we can start to like really navigate where everybody's on the same page. But it's like, how can you do from beginning to extremely advanced all together, right? So this month's EYL University class is going to be a little different. When Troy teaches his options class, it's going to be a boot camp. So we're doing an options boot camp, right? On this Thursday at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And this is going to be the websites, the resources, going over charting, bringing you up to speed currently, looking at different positions currently.
How to use the AI. That gym is worth
how to use
alone.
AI, like really walking you through the whole AI. Like I said, I mean, I've seen people make millions of dollars off options. So, you know, but you got to be properly prepared, looking at different calls that potentially could be looked at in the future, current calls that currently in, like the whole entire playbook, right? Like pretty much everything under the hood that you need to go outside right now and start making money, right? So options boot camp. This is going to be one of them ones. Thursday, 8 o'clock. This might last a few hours.
Oh, Marcus, give me that link.
Possibly.
Now I'm gonna be honest with you. So we've touched on a few things, but there's still some layers that we have to uncover. And so I know some people in the last class that we had, Ian, they were like, well, now that I know that, where do I go? And so now here's the direction. Here's what you can do with it. So we're going to have some plays in there. Obviously, I gave y'all one tonight. That was just a sample, but there's about 4 or 5 others that we got our eyes on. That we're going to walk to the mission. We're going to see exactly what I'm looking at, how you should be looking at it as well, and how you're going to execute, because that's the most important part.
So for EYL University, we are bringing it back to the original price that we started this year, because we raised the price. But 48 hours, we're going to use a code. We have a discount that brings it back to the original price that we originally started at this year, which is $100 for the month and like $1,000 for the year, which if you look at everything inside the platform, it's kind of crazy. But if you use code,
that's crazy to get that for options too. Woo, baby.
If you can't make that money back on one option trade, then you're doing it wrong.
What happened the last time we gave him this kind of deal with Troy Rashad? Remember, the one guy was like, "Yo, this call is too expensive." And 500%.
That's a fact.
500.
That was the NVIDIA. That was the NVIDIA
205.
That was NVIDIA call. That's a fact.
Oh yeah.
That's a fact.
We done quadruple down on that.
Yeah, that's a fact. That was like,
you like that call
a year ago. So if you go to EYL University on the checkout, put code Market Mondays, one word,
Yes.
Market Mondays, one word on the checkout, and you will get the discount on annual or monthly, either or.
100 a month is crazy. I didn't even know that.
And that's for 48 hours only. And then it's back to regular price. Regular pricing is still too, but discount Market Mondays, discount for all the people that watch Market Mondays religiously. That's why it's called Market Mondays, because this is the core element of this stock enthusiast, right? So go to EYL University at checkout, enter code Market Mondays, all one word, and you will receive the discount, and you will have access to not only the options class, but the entire EYL University platform, which it consists of my financial planning calls. We have different affinity groups inside of there. We just did a credit with credit call. We got student loans. We got so many different stuff that we've done inside of EYL University. But this stock option thing is really picking up steam. So if you're interested and you want to better your future and you want to be around like-minded people and you really want to actually take trading to a different level and see how you can actually be a lot more educated in the space, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Market Mondays, one word.
Yeah. Shout out to our stock club inside of EYLU. We got our chapter leaders in there, so shout out to them. Yeah, it's fun, man, because everybody says, "Oh, I love when you get in your teaching bag," and so I can get to do a little bit here on Market Mondays every now and then. But in EYLU, obviously, it's like a whole hour and a half. Sometimes I got to stop myself. I'm like, this is too much for 1 hour, one session for people to really grasp. So yeah, man, we pouring into the people this Thursday. Make sure y'all there. It's going to be eventful. We're going to make some money. That's the goal, man. I want people to make money, but more so than making money, I want them to learn, and I want them to teach too. I want them to really create community, right? I'm learning this. Here's what I'm looking at. How do we add to each other's portfolio? So let's do it.
And you guys' opinion, how many trades, I want to give value for everybody watching, how many trades should a person be taking per quarter and per month so they don't end up blowing up their account?
Should they take before when they're thinking about not blowing it up?
Yep.
Man. Year, month, what are we talking?
Year. Let's do year.
I would say less than 20.
What about the quarter?
If I did that, then it'd probably be 3 to 5 a quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just because, like I said, one of the most like fine-tuning things that I had to figure out was, do I have the time to do it? Now, some people might have more time. They may say, all right, well, I won't do 3 to 5. I'll probably do more. But if you like, somebody might be having their 9 to 5 and they can only look during their lunch break and when the market's open.
Yep.
Make it easy on yourself. Study a company. And obviously what I just showed you in the clip is that's just for one move. Like, it took me a few weeks just to figure out, all right, where is it moving? Where are the signals telling me? What's the economic factors? Did it hit this depreciation level for me? I have to wait. And what it actually does, then I got to strike. I got to execute. So that might take time. Yeah. So it may only be 3 to 5 for that reason.
Yeah. 3 to 5 is a sweet spot. Like, and everyone, whether it's options, futures, Forex, I know they're going through a transition, but that 3 to 5, whether on a week or quarterly, is a sweet spot. Like, if you obey that, you'll be fine. Everybody gets into trouble when it's like 12, 15, 20 trades in a month. Just stay in a sweet spot. But $100 is crazy. I was not in on the pricing meeting at all. So, because y'all know, if it was me, 100 a day, I whack 100.
Whack 100.
Shot the whack.
All right. So let's talk about Warren Buffett. Recently sold over 100 million in Apple shares. So how does this influence your view on Apple long term? Going back to Apple, we talked about it before the presentation, but being that Warren Buffett just sold 100 million in his shares, does that matter?
It's interesting.
You can't, of course I have my own process that I follow, but when he sells that many shares, you do have to look at reasons why. So, of course, in the annual meeting, they were like, well, because for tax reasons, right? Taxes could go up, which I think was a brilliant answer to tell Tim Cook, here's why I'm offloading my shares. Tax incentives are more conducive this year than they will next year. Okay. The real answer is this is really Charlie's idea. So I can see them taking money off the table for that reason. God rest Charlie's soul.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying the same thing that we're seeing. Sentiment is changing. Apple's like almost in a Drake moment where it's like, what Drake Mom said, people don't love you like that. Like some of the love for Apple is going away. Taking profit at the right time. And also then if he's already up 500-600% long term, why not take some of that money, put a few billion away in case if we do have a recession next year or 2026 to be able to buy, because they're looking to load the boat on some companies that could fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw this, even Becky Quick on CNBC said everybody at CNBC was scrambling to find why. That was telling enough that he didn't kind of let that leak out early that he was getting rid of some of these shares. So I think it's not at an attractive enough price. Even at the 175 level, if the top of the market is 199, I wouldn't want to deploy $2 billion there. I would want to take profit as well. But you do have to take note when he takes profit. I think they've been in 7 years, 8 years. Hell of a run. I'm not mad at him for taking profit, but a great area for Apple will be like 149, 135, based on like where Buffett likes to buy. If they were to load back up, but he's done a great job on the investment. Would have done even better if he would have listened to Charlie
a long time
12 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, 12 years ago. But it was time to take profit for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm gonna start with Charlie Munger, rest in peace. Yeah, had he listened to him, can you imagine what this profit would look like?
Man.
So he finally listens to him in 2016. We're in 2024, so you're talking about an 8-year run of Apple appreciation. Obviously, we saw what happened during the pandemic, and I mean, they bought more. But the numbers are staggering. Like they sold 13% of their stake in Apple, which was the equivalent of 115 million shares. 115 million shares, right? They still ended the first quarter with 790 million shares. Like, think about that.
Buy in bulk.
790 million shares. The transaction was a $20 billion transaction, and I think it's for every reason that you said. It's too easy to say it's just for taxes. Like that's like the one.
That's a cute answer.
Yeah, but like for somebody, the untrained eye, to people who don't hear the news that he actually responded that way, when you hear that the greatest investor of a generation
of all time,
the GOAT, is selling 13% of his shares, the average investor or to like medium tier, that's cause for concern, because most people are saying if he's the greatest and he's selling that much, that maybe we're doing something wrong. Maybe he's seeing something that we didn't, and maybe we should get out as well. And so that's interesting to me. That's cause for concern. He's still long-term in the position. It's still, even with the 115 million shares sold, it's still 41% of the portfolio. Yeah, by far the largest allocation. For
the time being.
There's something there. There's something there. Right. And
it's like when you and your girl break up and they go to the Bahamas real quick or go to Turks and then they come back and y'all rekindle. It's over. You just don't know it. Tim Cook, I'm so sorry. What can I do to make this better? You better get on that line.
But I think it could be, there might be a more attractive investment to add to portfolio. We don't have to deploy new capital. We can use some of the money from the sale of these shares to still have a majority stake and still invest in something that has a promising upside as well. So maybe that's it. I don't think taxes is the sole reason. It sounded good though.
Great answer though.
Yeah, it sounded good.
It's like when podcasters break up and they're like creative differences.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What hear you. What was it? I mean, he doubled down on it. He was like, "Yeah, for all that America's done for you, you should be proud to do something back for America, and that's pay your taxes."
Such a great line. Such a great line.
Really? That's what we're going.
Shoddy diplomacy.
I'm not really.
That's like when they go back up China Mac. Oh, okay. I see you.
Okay, W.
Okay. I see you.
Okay.
Great answer though. And then also too, if they got it in 2016, their average share price could be anywhere from like 32 to 45. Like, It's a hell of a return.
Yeah,
But if you see things are getting stable.
There was a split in there. 21 or 22, they split.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, they got in at a ridiculous price.
Yeah.
So,
amazing time.
Let's talk about Peloton CEO Barry McCarthy resigning and plans to cut 15% of the workforce due to investment opportunities remain in the company's stocks.
You're done, Rick. You're done, Rick. Oh,
so,
man.
Yeah. So does any investment opportunities remain? Would you invest in Peloton?
Absolutely not. Rick, go call Mark Zuckerberg. Call the Hudson Yards office. Ask to be patched through. Go look for a job. Maybe a swing trade. Like if you're just feel like gambling at, I don't know, 304, 305 up to 370. Cool. But some of these businesses, I mean, a bunch of missteps. Who invested in this? Mike, I'm sorry.
I was gonna leave his name out of this. You gonna do that?
That's my guy. You know I love him, right? But I haven't this is an Enron like collapse. If you just look at the chart year over year from 21 to now,
nasty.
My God, a disaster. So Zillow, same way. I don't think there's any value here. Any exercise brand, or where you have to, especially in the world and land of AI, if you have to depend on a person doing something every day to drive the value of the business up, I think it's the wrong business to be in. Peloton is, it's time to get the arrangements together and go get the wreath. That's over with.
Yeah. I mean, usually when we hear these numbers, when we hear people, companies or corporations reducing their staff, when we talk about employees losing their job, it's usually because they're restructuring, because they're putting money towards innovation and they're trying to see more profit. I don't think that's that doesn't feel like that's the reasoning behind this. So they have a plan to restructure, like I said, to cut the 50% of the global headcount. That's over 400 employees. They have a plan for the annual run rate of expenses. They want to reduce that by 200 million by the end of 2025. They also have a plan that they want to save by reducing their payroll. Obviously, you cut employees, you do that. And they want to have less money to spend on marketing, which always seems to help businesses, right? Let's spend less money on marketing, and reduce retail store footprint, and reduce the software and IT spending. So you're going to reduce the marketing, you're going to reduce the store footprints, you're going to reduce IT and software spending.
You're going to reduce the bikes and just have people ride on a bicycle with an iPhone attached to it. This is insane.
Those aren't signs that would be something that I would probably want to invest in.
Then when you look at the numbers, gross margin is 32%. Not bad. I thought this was fake. Profit margin is negative 45%. What? The market cap is 4.1 billion. I don't want a single app to be more valuable than an entire company. WhatsApp is worth what? 100 billion, 99 billion. Bro, this is dead man walking. Some people have a 1-year target for it for 135. If so, I will come on here, shave my head and eyebrows off if it gets to 135.
$135 a share.
Some smoking on crack. Some analysts, though, I won't say which one, but I have it at 135 in a year. Impossible.
It's $3.
I'll come on here and renounce my throne like King Simunda if it gets to 135. Not going to happen. EBITDA margin negative 19. The numbers are just insane.
That's great. That's great. Citi just downgraded, as you said.
People don't want to work out. Okay, going back to V12, that's a fast one. Listen, if you can go to Colombia for 5,200 and go get your abs put on, what I'm gonna be on the Peloton for 24 weeks?
Alleged.
The Ozempic V12, boy.
That's all alleged,
man. Alleged. Shout to the boy. Shout to the watch. Let's wrap it up,
please.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Drake and Kendrick battle. But I want to talk about from a business. I have a few business lessons that I think can be learned from this marketing and business lessons. And I'll first start off by saying who won. The biggest winner is Universal Records. The biggest loser is J. Cole. But in the semantic battle of who won, Kendrick Lamar won the battle, or is winning the battle, in my opinion. But what's interesting is that I think you can learn something from this, right? And the first thing is be extremely careful about accepting challenges when you have everything to lose and nothing to gain. I always say it's not really advantageous to fight down. It is very advantageous to fight up, right?
Fight up. Yep.
In this situation, I think Drake had nothing to really gain in this situation and everything to lose. And I felt that the public was going to pretty much say he lost no matter what he did. He would have had to execute a flawless game plan, a flawless delivery. Anything short of absolute perfection, the fight was kind of fixed. Not to say that Kendrick did what he's supposed to do, but Drake just had so much negativity that just the public animosity for him. It was kind of a no-win situation for him.
Really cool. What caused the animosity, you think? Because I think that's a great lesson too, and what not to do.
Any type of success breeds envy, man.
Well, I think it's certain, there's a reason why Jay-Z is not on Instagram, why you don't see him, right? There's a reason why Eminem, you never see him. There's a reason why Dr. Dre, you never see him, right? Like, very few people can maintain over a decade of dominance and be in the public eye for all the time and not garnish some level of resentment and hate. It's human nature, right? So I think a lot of it just comes from people just don't like to see people winning for long periods of time. It's like LeBron James.
That's right. That's it. Perfect. That's the perfect comparison.
Another part of it, I think it might be some level of his personality, right? Where he's kind of a person that's easy to hate, right? Let's just be honest. Like, you would traditionally say like he's like a corny guy, right? Like traditionally, like that would be somebody who got money and kind of, so it's like that's always an easy target to kind of pick on somebody like that, right? His upbringing, he's Jewish, he's from Canada, he had the afro, he was on Nickelodeon, he was in the wheelchair, and then he came, and then it's the narratives. So these are easy narratives to kind of place and put on him, right? He's not from America, he's from Canada. It's the whole thing. And that's part of it, I think, and then also I think, he's done things to kind of troll other people in the past, and that's kind of been synonymous with his personality. It's kind of like, a troll and somebody who's kind of arrogant, and, so those type of people are always easy targets as well. Right? Variety of different factors that kind of make him an easy target. So just be mindful of that when you're building your personal persona, your business persona, that, you have to be whoever you feel comfortable being. But in that type of role, you're going to garnish more hate as opposed to somebody like Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole, who I don't think anybody hates them, right? They might not like their music, but I never heard one person like really vehemently like dislike them as a person, right? Like they're pretty, it's hard to dislike somebody like that. You don't even see them. They're not flashy. They dress down every time you see them. They don't talk about taking people's girls. They don't show their cars. They don't show their houses. They haven't flashed any money. They don't talk about money. They've kind of checked all the boxes that Drake doesn't. Drake checks every other box. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they're like really total opposites. Shaping narratives is extremely important in marketing for yourself and for your opponent, right? Because what I realized in marketing is that it's not necessarily what's true, it's what people believe to be true.
That's crazy, but you're right.
I mean, we see this all the time, right? Like, if you really look at the thing, this is probably a blackout topic, but it's been historically proven that Jesus Christ wasn't born in December, right? If you look at the archives, but it was marketed. That's how it was marketed, and it's Christmas. So nobody really cares when his actual birthday is. It's not of importance, right? What's more important is the celebration of Christmas, right? So that's a marketing campaign which garnishes trillions of dollars in spending globally every single year, and it works, right? So the actual truth behind it is irrelevant at this point. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
What is more important is what people believe, right? And there's been some narratives that may not be true, but doesn't really necessarily matter, right? It was said. Yeah. People, the thing about saying something too is that the crazy thing about saying something is that once you say something, somebody never forgets what you said. Somebody never forgets it, right? So even if it gets debunked and it said it's not true, it doesn't really matter because there's going to be some people that still believe it or still remember it, right? So these narratives, whether it's self-inflicted narratives about yourself, some people make up stories about themselves, right? Or it's you make up narratives about your opponent to try to diminish them. That's a tactic that has been used in business for a long period of time. It's not clean, right? But it's one. It
happened with Ralph Lauren and Tommy Hilfiger back in the day.
Exactly. With Tommy Hilfiger, remember that they said that Tommy Hilfiger was a racist. They never really showed you him say this, but it was said enough that to this day, a lot of people still
do business
because they think that he's racist. It's a perfect example.
Yep.
I think you have to take your time and be calculated, and confident in your plan and move with speed. Success loves speed. So I think that Kendrick Lamar, he took his time when everybody was counting him out. He took 2 weeks, but when he actually did attack, he had dropped 3 records in 3 days. Swift. So it's like, he waited strategically and he moved with extreme precision and the speed of light, right? Like we've never seen anything like that in such rapid time frame. It's always good to have other people champion you, right? As opposed to you championing yourself. Another great thing that Kendrick Lamar has done where he had the public talking about him, right? Where he's not on Instagram, he's not on Twitter, right? He has the public that's championing him and he's become like a man of the people. That's better than you saying like, I'm the best, I'm this, I'm that. Because if you keep championing yourself, you're going to garnish resentment as well, right? So I think he's done a great job at positioning from the aspect of he never talks, he doesn't do interviews, he's not on Instagram hardly, got like 2 posts on Instagram, but he's done a good job of having the public and other people, his peers, champion him so that his name is always being spread without him actually having to spread it. Then as far as trapping your opponents, I think that he definitely lured Drake into a trap.
Yeah, finally.
Calling him out 616. And he used Drake's formula, right? 2 back-to-back songs, calling him out. Then Drake drops a visual for a record that's actually a really good record. 6 minutes, 3 different beat changes. And then 10 minutes later, Kendrick Lamar drops and nobody cares about that record anymore, right? It literally is like a solar eclipse. And then use other people's strengths. So it's like he used not only that, but he also used that Mustard song, the club song, right? And now this is an anthem. That's Drake's formula. If you look at back to back, if you look at Stay Scheming when he dissed Common, Drake would make these. He's like the first person to actually ever do that, right? Where he made a diss record into a #1 song. Usually diss records are not played in clubs. Drake was making a diss record and he did it with push-ups, but then Kendrick Lamar took that formula and did it with the Not Like Us. And now that's become like a West Coast anthem that they just going crazy to right now, right? So
historically, yes. Historically, I wouldn't give Drake the credit for doing that.
Who's done that?
Who was the first?
The Rigid Over started with that.
But that's not a club record.
That's where it started.
That's in the 80s.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not giving Drake all the credit for that.
Modern hip hop.
Modern hip hop.
When you look at Ether, it's not a club record.
That's not.
Takeover is not a club record.
That's not getting played.
Second Round Knockout is not a club record.
No, I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying I don't want to give Drake the credit for it.
Well, you have to give him credit for it.
For modern day.
About modern day hip hop, and he pioneered it. So you have to give him credit for it. But Kendrick, once again, he took his formula, he remixed it, and I think he executed his game plan flawlessly. And it's a case study. It's a case study on marketing, public perception, swaying public perception, execution, variety of different things that I think that I just looked at it from an interesting, like, okay, this is something that is bigger than just rap music. These are actually valuable business lessons. And when you're in business, this is a game. Like it's a game of inches, and you gotta, it's like playing football. So it's like when you're dealing with your opponents, when you're dealing with your own product, when you're dealing with marketing, you have to be extremely thought out, extremely strategic. And for that reason, I think that Kendrick Lamar, I've never seen anybody execute at the highest level possible in this battle thing ever, other than him. He's done it flawlessly. And
he's done a great job.
He's done it flawlessly.
He's done a great job.
What did he do that was not flawless?
Well, so I said, what are we saying? I get what you're saying, right? Like, it doesn't matter what you're saying as long as people believe it.
It should matter, though.
But at some point, it does matter, right? Like, if I can prove to you that I hear what you're saying, right? But at some point, I can't say it's flawless if I've given you information and you use that information, the false information, alleged, like this is all alleged, right? And you use that and you made a whole song about that. That's not flawless to me. Did he outclass him in this? Absolutely. The timestamp thing was brilliant. The dropping right after he was brilliant. What going directly at him was brilliant. Creating an anthem, not just for himself, but for an entire coast, anybody who feels like they have an opposition. Yeah, They Not Like Us is now the record, and it's back to back on steroids. I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out. I mean, it is on streaming services. That is going to be nominated for something. It'll probably win something. It was a masterclass, not flawed, but a masterclass. It is in my opinion, I think it's the greatest moment that we've seen in hip hop, maybe ever. Just like from the anticipation standpoint, what they were delivering. It's not easy. Like, these guys are they're the elite of this generation. To be able to create songs and have them readily available in the time frame that they're doing is no easy task. So I gotta give them. They both deserve a lot of credit for doing that.
So, but here's the thing: the truth doesn't matter as long as the lie is more entertaining. Edward Bernays is credited as being the godfather of public relations in the United States of America.
Absolutely.
If you don't know who Eric Bernays is, he is the nephew of Sigmund and Freud, and he ushered in the modern era of public relations as we
are.
So many campaigns that he ran. One of them that comes to mind, he started a campaign in the 50s, 40s, maybe even before that. The nicotine companies was having a hard time because women did not smoke cigarettes. And obviously, if 50% of the population is not smoking, is not using your product, then that's not optimal, right? So they had to come up with a campaign to actually get women to start smoking. So he developed a campaign of women liberation and saying that smoking is actually correlated to women's rights and women's liberation.
Yeah.
As a result, millions of women started to smoke. And as a result, millions of women started to catch cancer and eventually died, right? And then everything came out later on that, no, this is actually not, it was never about women liberation. It was about getting women to smoke. My whole point in saying this is that it didn't matter. It was a campaign that was funded on lies and propaganda. That's what propaganda is, right? It was propaganda. Yep. It was lies and propaganda. And they got filthy rich off of that. So what I'm saying is this: it's still executed flawlessly. Even if it's a lie, it's still executed flawlessly because the public, the majority of the public, doesn't care. I'm just being objective. I care.
Yeah,
I care. But I'm just saying, just looking, because I'm reading the comments, I'm looking he's created narratives about Drake that's extremely dangerous. Mm-hmm. When you start talking about pedophilia, when you start talking about you have a child that's unidentified, these are things that you really can't come back from, right? This is pretty. It's not like a
damning.
Yeah, I don't know if you can't come back from. I don't think it damages his career, but what it is, it makes it tough to respond, which he did respond and denied it. But you're right. I think there was a concerted campaign, right? And there's a reason why he appears on Metro's and Future's "We Don't Trust You," right? Because one of the things and one of the lessons I would add to it is that you can't lose the trust of the public. And so once the campaign the album is, it's very strategic, right? He could have appeared on any album. He could have put that verse anywhere. It's on that album because the title is called we don't trust you. And then they double down.
We still don't trust you.
And we still don't trust you. So now in the mind of the audience is like, you know what? We really never liked this guy, man. We don't even know why we don't trust him. But like, he's taking dudes, girls. Like, for us, we come up in a generation and it's like, yo, if your arm ain't strong enough, that deserved to happen to you. Right? I understand this problem. I'm saying we come up in that era. Like, I took your girl because your arm ain't strong enough.
It's about to black out.
Not your man. No, not
your that's your guy.
No, these ain't your mans. These ain't your mans. Like,
he did. Look,
these ain't day one. What I'm saying is like, you lost the trust of the people. Now let's double down on it. Let's crack some more things that seem to show you like, this is why we shouldn't trust you. Here's the reasons we don't trust you. And it doesn't matter what you say for like even that, like pedophilia, that is we're not putting that on.
That's a hell of a thing.
Anybody that's a victim of that, our prayers go out to you. But on the same side, he's saying that, yo, you're an abuser. You abuse women. You actually abuse your. No one even cares about that.
Nobody cared.
Putting that on somebody is heavy. That's why I'm like, all right, this is
because people like
50,
and they hate Diddy.
Do they like him or they just get him?
No, they like 50 Cent.
They like 50.
They like 50. People like Kendrick Lamar and they don't like Drake. And it's a industry propaganda campaign to take the boy out. However you feel, this is a
for sure.
This is an orchestrated plan.
What happens when he doesn't go out though? That shows you the strength of the person, the competitor.
For the time being,
limits. That's another rule of law.
I threw that to you.
That's my last thing.
I threw that to you.
Don't exceed the limits, because what you can do is that when you back somebody in a corner, right, you can turn the public against you. Nobody likes a bully, so he has to be careful. The whole industry has to be careful of like, now if Drake is seen as somebody who the industry is trying to take out, right? And they're trying to bully him and they're trying to place false narratives on his name. Now, all of these memes, then they joking on him can turn into support for him and then hate for the other people that's actually trying. Yeah. So you got to be careful when you have victory, accept the victory and don't spike the football. Like, don't go too far. Yeah. Because this can turn, it can turn. The tides can turn on you, and if it turns on you, now you're in trouble. Ian, what's your
I want to throw it to Ian because I want to leave because I saw you posted this, and I know that you had posted that don't exceed your limits was one of your things. But Ian, and I know we talked about 20v1, right? Like that's a whole thing. But like, you might think it's one guy, but you don't know who's backing that guy. You don't know the money that's behind that guy. You don't know who's in jeopardy. And I think, at least in kind of some of the things that you were posting this weekend. So I'm gonna give the floor to you.
Yeah, let me start with some of the things he did wrong. First thing I thought when Like That stayed number one, that relationship with Lucian isn't as tight as it used to be. Because if the powers that be are letting that record be number one, and then Kendrick dropped the disc through Interscope, not PG Lang, but through Interscope, who is owned by Universal, it tells me there's some trouble somewhere. Fix that, number one. And I know some people's like, no, he just licensed it to him. Interscope is profiting off of the disc. So is Universal. So they're the biggest breadwinners in this, right? Number two, going back to the moral issue of you can't snake and try and take everyone's growth. Like, we can argue that's not his man, but it finally came out, so we can talk about it. Him snaking Wayne when Wayne was in jail is foul as fuck.
That did happen.
He got some,
but we can't blame Tammy.
And then, right? So going back to having discipline and like not crossing, my thing with all of my friends, like, we never gonna fall out over women or money. We can't like stay in your own lane. Like you said, Rashad, don't exceed the limits. And also too, if you know someone is really ready to go to war with you, you got to have 10, 15 replies back. That's why when I had an issue a couple years ago, I come on, bam, hit that voicemail. Cool. Not 20 more I could have played. Also, for those of you who are looking to engage in beef, you don't have the Pyrus in your back pocket and 2 T's like Kendrick does. I am begging y'all this summer, don't go for, and Kendrick's fooled everybody into thinking, oh, he's just a nice guy that just raps. Oh, go out there playing. Go out there fucking with that boy. You will find out. Shout out to everybody on the West. He got the Crips behind. I'm like, he got a whole West Coast. Don't think Drake's sweet. Rest up. Wassa's cool. Like, Let's keep it on wax.
Yeah, it's music. Let's keep it music.
Just keep it on music.
It ain't music.
But
not anymore.
It ain't music.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. But what I'm saying, going to the big point of arrogance, once you engage in war, you have to be sure not to upset the people at the top. Same with Taylor Swift and Kanye. Kanye tried to jump in a little beef, and Future didn't even want no parts of it. I heard a little rumor, Taylor part of the reason why he can't get a deal. It's interesting. When you go to war with people, like Troy and Rashad, I can't come to your house and then have an issue with you 2 weeks later. Then you see me walking to go get Chipotle, and you're not going to make fun of me. You got to be careful who you beef with.
It depends on if you're wearing a book bag.
Jan Sport, right? Be careful. And this goes back to alliances. Like, he broke down the alliances too much. And now when people want to team up on you, you don't have it. Like, I haven't heard Lil Baby come out and drop nothing for him. J. Cole went away after he got that call. Like, keep your alliances intact, keep your credibility intact, keep your morals intact, and everything will be good. But shout out to the boy. You know, I rock with the boy.
Like I said, the last thing I'll say about this is Drake. Yeah, no matter how you feel about him, I give him all the respect in the world because he didn't have to do this.
Absolutely,
he stood toe to toe, and it's like a heavyweight fight. Like, you know, like he everything that he put out was hot lyrically. Like, he didn't put out nothing whack.
Yeah,
and he gained. I always have respect for Drake, but I have tremendous respect for Drake. Kendrick Lamar, hats off. Performed flawlessly. I think that Kendrick Lamar won, but I don't think Drake won. I don't think Drake lost. I think that Kendrick Lamar won. I think the only person that lost was J. Cole. We'll talk about that on Blackout. But
yeah,
shout out to Cole though. That's my guy.
Can I get a microphone this week? Can I get a microphone?
I'm just being honest.
Yes, please. And also Drake owning damn near everybody catalog too, and you know, Joe alluded to the Gamma situation.
He kind of alluded to it too. He's like, that's why, you know, now they understand there's a price to pay when you say my name. There's still some stuff to uncover. It doesn't have to continue for me. I think I'm with you. I don't need it to continue. I doubt they'll stop.
You gotta reply to every enemy.
Yeah, I doubt they'll stop, but it doesn't need to continue.
I think it's over. It's over.
You think he doesn't reply again?
It's up to Kendrick. Because Drake was the last one to.
But he might just do it again, just because.
Nah. Now you're looking crazy. Just let it go. Let it go, bro.
Kendrick gonna have to put the remix out. Drake gonna have to reply. Because if he go get YG and West Coast, they're gonna have 42 remixes.
YG. I mean, those guys in a spot, right? Like, he said their names. Like, these guys is really being like YG. Yeah. We saw Game already supported Drake, so I don't know how that's gonna work. But I mean,
Game supported Drake when?
He put the album up. Yeah,
they type
the album up.
Like, after he put out Euphoria, Game put up some stuff about Drake. Like,
But
Drake
shout out to Kendrick Lamar, shout out to Drake.
Both of them. Aubrey Graham.
I think both of them went too far.
Mr. Duckworth.
Both of them went too far. But
there's no too far. I saw you in Sticks. We talk about it on Blackout. Once you cross a certain line, there's no too far.
Shout out to my brother.
You get to mention the kid.
6 Watts, man.
Boy.
We can talk about it on Blackout. But my thing is that they say people gotta stop saying like there's no rules in rap. There's rules in life. It's bigger than rap. There's rules in life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and there's consequences for things that you say. And both of those gentlemen took it too far. But let's talk about Berkshire Hathaway.
Yes.
Quick sharp turn.
Yes.
The other boy packing out arenas.
It's crept down the block.
What's there to learn from Berkshire Hathaway's annual meeting?
I think the biggest lesson you can see how much Warren misses Charlie. I think he brought up a good point in business and in life. Like, the people that you choose to build life and spend life with is like the most important investment decision that you'll make. Of course, he has a bunch of poignant takes on investing, and you know, that's amazing. But I think you can see, and we're watching Warren's last years. I don't wish death upon anyone.
That was going to man.
Yeah, we have to appreciate the time that we have left with him. The way he looks at Ben Graham, I look at him in that regard. We may not have him for too many more years. So I think the biggest lesson investment wise is like the people that you choose to spend your time with, build with, will have the ultimate impact on your life. So choose wisely.
I think the biggest lesson, and it's crazy, you kind of like threw alley-oops to me, is succession. We just spoke about it with Starbucks. We spoke about it with Peloton. We spoke about it with Disney. But the quote that Warren gave was, I not only hope you come next year, I hope I come next year.
Yeah.
Which tells me, obviously, with the death of Charles, death is inevitable.
I mean, he's like 100 years old.
He's 93, but
close enough.
That's close enough. If we round up, well, yes, right. But he knows that the final days are getting closer, and so the succession plan on who is now going to run, what will the legacy be going forward, how are we positioning the portfolio, all these things came to mind when I heard him say that quote. And that's all he had to say. I hope I'm here next year. It was like, wow.
Yeah.
Warren, we need you to invest
before it's all
big facts. We try. Yeah, can we let the cat out the bag? We tried last year. We need you this year, yo.
We need
zoom in.
That's best before it's all over, my brother.
Yeah, we could put the Zoom up, StreamYard you from Omaha. Let's just make it happen.
Before it's over, my brother. We need you. The community needs to hear you.
Terrence Crawford, hit us up, man.
Omaha.
Prince of Omaha. We need the king of Omaha.
Let's do it.
Appreciate you.
Shout out to Warren Buffett.
Yeah. That was my takeaway.
Shout out to Warren Buffett, man.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about some individual stocks.
Yeah, let's run through. Ian, we got a few stocks here. And it's crazy. Let's start with Expedia. Ticker is EXPE, the Expedia Group. I saw one of the funniest memes, and it was it had Expedia in the ring with Airbnb, and they thought they were going to have them in the chokehold, and obviously that didn't happen after Airbnb had reported. So what's our thoughts on Expedia?
Expedia, I like it long term, but at a specific price. I like it at 87.64, which is like the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement of the all-time or since inception chart. I think it's too high right now, 115. I use the app, love the app dearly. But no, the price is too high. Like fair value is 87.64. Low to boat would be 57.24. So if I can't get out those two prices, I won't touch it. I love the app, but too high right now.
Too high. Let's move on to one of my favorites. Just as a disclaimer, I am an investor in the company. Live Nation, ticker LYV. They reported last week. Concert sales went crazy. Beyonce went crazy. Obviously, we that was documented. Taylor Swift was part of last year's sales as well. They've seen no slowdown in the ticket market for the concerts. In fact, they actually had a guidance where they actually think it's going to be bigger this year. So what's your thoughts on Live Nation? They're still fighting the DOJ. Just throw that in there. Go ahead.
Yeah. When I saw this one, I definitely thought of you. Job well done, because you've been big on this one since 2020. Love it. Drake called Kanye, make up, do a redemption tour. Do 2 more tours. Bring J. Cole back out. Michael Jackson, Avatar, Tupac hologram. Get it together. But Live Nation is on fire. Like, they're 96.10 right now. About a year and a half, they should get to like 125.68. They have recovered incredibly well. And you weathered that storm, so I got to give you full credit for that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we were down at 47. I said it's just a matter of time before people go back outside. People will be excited to go back outside. I mean, can we say that they have a monopoly? I know they're in, but they have a pretty good stronghold on the ticket.
They have a very strong moat
on ticket sales. Yeah, you're talking about fans going back to festivals, going to concerts, going to sporting events. I mean, we're seeing record numbers everywhere. I don't think that slows down. Let's go to Trimble. Ticker TRMB, Trimble Inc. What's your thoughts? I'm looking at their 6-month chart.
A few people asked me about this one. Don't love the business per se. Price is okay. This one would be a maybe for me. If I get it at a great enough price, yes, I would like it maybe at $38. But at this price, 55 to 45, it's a definite no-go. They had a pullback in October around 42. I may want to swing trade it there, but it was at $96 in 2021, has not reached that high again. No, for me, it's a no right now. And my thesis is always, if this was like the last money that I had, or if my life was on the line, would I place money here? For this company, it would be a no.
All right, so we got a no on that. How about Amgen? Ticker AMGN. We saw them on a nice little run. This is in the healthcare space. This is in the weight loss drug space. This is a competitor to Eli. So what's your thoughts around Amgen? They had a tough run, but looks like some promise over the past month or so.
Ozempic been getting a lot of burn. You think when Game do his diss track, Amgen gonna pay him to put like their drug on the cover art? I like Amgen. Amgen at 261.56, I like, but long term, I like it. They've been doing incredibly well. I am interested to see who wins that battle because I'm starting to see Rashad once again narrative about which one is more deadly, which one has a harsher side effects. But Amgen is one of my favorites, a stock club pick as well as Lilly. I like them. I like Amgen a lot.
Yeah, Ozempic is it's in the running for the word of the year. I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Yep. It's all in these battles. It's the biggest moment in rap history, really. I mean, it was at the forefront of it. Either they're saying Drake is using it or Rick Ross, whoever's using it. It's everywhere. It was on the cover art. They took it down, but yeah, man.
You see Scott Disick looking like a zombie?
He's on Ozempic?
You may not what a boy look like Walking Dead. Scott, get it together. I know Court left you for Travis, but damn, my boy, you didn't even need it. You was 152 pounds.
Hold your head.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's crazy. Let's move on to in the energy sector. ENPH, ticker ENPH. What's your thoughts?
No. I want to say yes. Looking at the chart, no, they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have probably 13, 14 months of them sliding to the downside. Maybe if I can get it at like 44.83 or $50. No, great company. High was in 22 at 339, but right now, no, I wouldn't touch it. All right, we got a new one. Like if Warren Buffett took off, not to cut you off, 13% of Apple, and Apple's the greatest publicly traded company of all time. This may be 80th. Now's not the time to play. Like, I know everyone wants to act like as if nothing has happened in the economy. There are adjustments being made in real time. Now's not the time to gamble. So,
all right, let's go. This is new. I'm looking at the chart here. It starts at 2024. GE Vernova Inc. Ticker is GEV. I know when we look at companies, we like to have a little bit of history to go back to, but this is a newer one. What's your thoughts?
For the time being, I like it. I think it has some great upside potential. I wouldn't put all of my eggs in one basket, but I do like it. We need a little bit more data before we can flesh it out for me. Too short of a window because I want to see what the executive management team does. But as of right now, it's on my leaderboard for potentially picking it up in the future. So I do like it. And I want to give something new because I know we talk about Apple and Tesla endlessly.
Yeah. That was a solid list, man. Solid list.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Walmart. So Walmart's planning to automate 65% of their stores by 2026. So does this make them a promising investment in the retail sector?
I think this is just another reason why they are one of the best companies on the planet that not many people are talking about. I haven't been in a Walmart in a long time, but when I'm looking at the stock, it's almost undeniable. They've done a great job of staying out of the woke mess. I hate to sound like a diehard conservative, but talked about Starbucks earlier. It's had an impact. Profit margin isn't as strong as I want it to be, but in terms of the retail space, when Starbucks is falling apart and others are, they're doing an incredible job. I like Walmart and Costco together as like a makeshift index, if you will. So yeah, I do like Walmart. It's too high to buy right now. I would like it at $51 if I can get it there, if it falls that far, or 45. But I do like Walmart long term for sure. Walmart and Costco are two of my favorites in the retail space.
Yeah. When I saw that report, automate 65% of the stores, it tells me obviously there's a technology play here. And so I want to know what companies are they going to be using to help this automation process, because that's a lot of stores. And that means that's a lot of business for somebody in that sector. And so that would be interesting, right? Like, who are the companies that they're using? What are the semis that they're using? Who is creating the infrastructure for those semis? Obviously, yes, Walmart, but if the business is going to be automated, they won't be the only person that is going to have this play, right? So if their competitors see that they're going automation, it wouldn't surprise me to see Target follow suit. All these retail companies will figure out a way to add that innovation, which tells me on a larger scale that there is a technology play inside. So rather than just having Walmart, let me get the companies that are going to provide the automation for them.
Who do you think it'll be? TSM? They're in Mexico, Central America, India, Chile, South Africa.
I think it starts there. I definitely think it starts with TSM. And then it becomes, all right, well, who is going to create the machinery that is going to provide TSM the bandwidth for these foundries? So there's always a great point. Yeah, there's always a play. Yeah,
yeah. And then with them getting that funding from the government, I think this will be a great potential partnership going into the next.
That's the American brand right there, man. What if they tell you it's Intel?
I'd be happy for Intel. I'm not a hater. Listen, I'm objective. They just are not delivering. They pulled a big bill against Drake.
I don't think they'll be able to move fast enough to have that in the next 2 years. No.
So Binance founder has been sentenced to 4 months in prison following a plea deal. Why do you think he was given such a short sentence?
I want to know. 1090 Jake. Listen, you pull up information on everybody else. Where's this paperwork? 4 months for 22 billion, bruh.
That's crazy.
I know I went crazy on the lady on Blackout who getting the death penalty. I said I don't wish jail on anybody, but 4 months for 20, bro. What? I'm appalled. I'm shocked. But he must have told some things on Sam that got him that hell of a deal. I don't know who he called, Harvey Specter from Suits. I don't know who he got as a lawyer, but calls on his lawyer. My God. I thought it was a joke I thought it was a misprint when they said 4 months. And then he wrote his apology letter. But my thing was, if that was me or you guys, we would have got 4,000 years.
Yeah.
Price would have returned. The pterodactyls would be roaming freely in Houston and New York. My God, I don't know how he got away with this. I think it's a travesty. But
at least
maybe
4 months
minimum.
At least 4,000 years. At least
on the wake up.
At least 4,000 years.
Generational slavery. Like our kids would have went to jail behind. Like that's the part I don't like and don't see. Sentencing should be fair across the board, but for that lady to have that Ponzi scheme happen in her country, to get a death penalty, then Sam to get 25 years, but he told on Sam and got 4 months. Make it make sense. But 1090 Jake, hold up that paperwork. Allegedly.
1090.
Allegedly. Options Masterclass Bootcamp. Options Bootcamp this Thursday for all you stock option enthusiasts. EYL University. This is something, the first time that we've done this, everything from A to Z, resources, websites, charts, everything that you need to know to make some money trading options. This is something that you cannot afford to miss if you are serious about actually getting in the options game and making some money. EYL University, we are running a 48-hour sale. 48 hours, 2 days only. Enter code MARKET Mondays, one word together. Market Mondays at checkout, and you will receive the discount to the original price, which is $100 and $1,000 for the year. Bootcamp Thursday, vitally important.
Yeah, bootcamp $100 crazy.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
You convinced me.
Before we leave, let's talk about some earnings.
Yes. Yeah, we got big earnings. It's always every week. I feel like there's a company that we should be checking out, but we got some big ones this year. Obviously, in the presentation, we talked about HubSpot reporting on Wednesday, but we got one of my other favorites, Disney. Ian, what's your thoughts, man? It's on the run. Okay, go ahead.
The positive news is I see some positive changes among leadership.
Okay.
They're pushing to the upside. They're up 2% today. So I'll give a fair. I give a fair to Disney. Hopefully they can make some changes. I'm excited to see what they do say on this earnings call. Like all jokes aside, they made a good turn. They've stayed above this 110 level. If they can have good earnings by end of the year, they should be at 133.42. Then they'll kind of dig their way out the same way Netflix did. So this earnings will definitely be key. But if they can do well this earnings, I have them going to 133.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm not just saying that because you're in it. So I'm highlighting it good.
It's had some pretty good quarters, man. If you look at its 6 month chart, I mean, pretty good. Was trading under. I think it got down to like 81. So it's had a nice rebound over the past 6 months. All right, so that's Disney. Let's talk about Uber. What's your thoughts?
Dara, when I saw him at the White House with y'all, looked like Jason Statham's little brother. So I have no smoke for Uber. I think Uber's actually done a great job. Like their turnaround hasn't been talked about enough. They're in the utility business. That's a really tough margins business to be in. I'm fair on it. Profit margin is slowly getting better. It's at 5%. Gross margin is 39%. $50 billion market cap. They're doing good. I'm bullish on Uber over the next couple of years. It'll be a slow burn, but yeah, they should break 100 by next year.
All right, so we're going from Uber. Let's go over to Celsius. This is one of those a few months back that caught us all off guard, and we were just like, whoa, how did we miss that one? What's your thoughts on what we should be looking forward to in the earnings?
Love
this year.
Love.
Okay.
They're over delivering. Also, another competitor of Starbucks. If you're selling caffeine and performance energy and all that, right? They have got a stranglehold on the market. So I talked about it maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago with Stock Club call. They've done well since then. If they stay above 75, I have them going to 93 in the next 2 or 3 months. And 2-year target is 117.39. So they are off to the races for sure. Almost kind of like a new Red Bull.
Yeah, I mean that it's like Monster Energy. Like it's one of these ones you don't talk about, but if you look at the movement, it's been pretty incredible. Let's go to NRG Energy. Another one. If you look at the 6 months chart,
man, listen, and me being here in Houston, I'm so mad that I didn't think of this one. Shout out to all the Texans and everybody that play NRG. They have been on a tear since 23. There was at $31. They're currently at 78. We got to wait for it to pull down. But the crazy part, in 15, they were at $8.80. So hell of a run. Too high to get in now. Got to wait for a pullback. But I do like NRG a lot, not just because I'm living here, but we got to wait for a pullback and invest long term. Energy is doing well in this cycle.
Let's go with one more energy. How about Duke Energy? Ticker DUK.
Shout out to all my Hoosiers. I first got hip to Duke Energy when I was in Bloomington way back in the day. I like the company. I would want to buy maybe at 81 or $75. In 2020, they got to a low of 62, and then hit a high of 116. They're on a tear. 2 thumbs up for this company for sure. In the year, they should be like at 108, 110 maybe. So if you're in Duke Energy, good company, earnings should be good.
All right, we got one more is a wild card. Rivian. Spoke about this a few times on the show. Ticker, actually have it just spelled out. Hold on, I'll get you the ticker in 2 seconds.
RIVN.
Yep, RIVN. Hasn't had a great 2024. EV market, obviously, we talked about the relationship with Amazon. What's your thoughts around Rivian?
This is definitely an audible and a sack. Profit margin. I'm on wallmine.com. Operating margin negative 129%. Gross margin negative 45%. EBITDA margin negative 137%. I didn't do that well in math when I was at Bishop Nolan High School, but if y'all went to the pitch competition with Steve Stout and Rashad and Troy, this would be a Sandman moment. Get off stage. No, market cap 19.8 billion. Another Ponzi, allegedly. If we ran a business and a profit margin was a negative 122%. Y'all complain about the sound at InvestFest. Come earlier. I haven't seen 15 of these trucks since they partnered with Amazon. Where are the deliverables? No.
I may have seen
No.
a few, but not a lot. Yeah, interesting one. There are a few other companies. I'll just mention them. Shopify is going to be reporting. I'm interested in ARM, which is going to be reporting. We saw that they had an incredible run along with NVIDIA. We saw them peak. So let's see what they report on Wednesday. And then I misspoke. I said Airbnb reported. Expedia reported. Airbnb will be reporting this week. So we'll see. We'll see. And Roblox. I know my son would be interested in that. He seems to figure out a way to have me buy more Roblox every week. So.
Airbnb has bounced back though.
Yeah,
give them credit. They fought back. They're at a fair value. Hopefully things can stay stable. But yeah, you have to look at it like percentage of short float for Rivian is 13%. So 13% of people are short in the stock. That's ugly. Whoever the CEO is, call Mark Zuckerberg. Mark's in a good mood.
Please.
Knees healing fine. Go look for a job there, please. Tough. Jeff Baker, the counter officer. Yeah, Jeff Baker sold 414,000 worth of shares. They got everybody on their executive team has been selling recently. Not a good sign. Not a good sign.
Never a good sign, ladies and gentlemen. So check us out tomorrow. We are talking to the vice president, 5:00
of America
Eastern Standard Time.
I don't want them to get confused.
On our YouTube channel and all podcast audio outlets. Make sure that you stream that and listen and see if you agree with what she has to say about the direction of America.
It's a fact.
Speaking of direction, I have 2 book recommendations. How to Make Money Selling Stocks. So I'll put this up, everybody, so you guys can see. And W.D. Gann Commodity Course. I know I haven't done book recommendations in a while, so these are my 2 book recommendations for the month of May.
That is a fact.
And no, don't sell the May and go away. Just continue to add shares to your portfolio.
There you have it.
We got a few birthdays. Obviously, we said my Keys was celebrated birthday this weekend. Shout out to Kenya and entire Felton family. I know her birthday is today. And Tanya, Tony, our sister-in-law, her birthday is tomorrow as well. So happy birthday. Anybody else got a birthday this week?
Happy birthday, Foxy. And I know I'm missing somebody. I'm gonna remember as soon as we wrap up. But yeah, happy birthday, Foxy.
Yeah, and we'd be remiss, right? We'd be remiss if we didn't say this. I don't know how. Happy Mother's Day. Before we see you again, it will be Mother's Day. And so I want to wish every woman out there a absolutely stress-free, relaxing day. You deserve it. You deserve every day, but especially on Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day from all the good folks here at Earn Your Leisure. Obviously from Ian and the Master Investor himself and the Red Panda family. We wish you all the mothers. We love you. We love you. We wouldn't be here without you. We need you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Top dog, do not let Kendrick drop on Mother's Day. Let Drake have that day, please.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
It's over. Yo, come.
We need a breather. Okay.
The top 1%, to be the top 1% in different countries in the world, you need $740,000 in Saudi Arabia. You need a net worth of $740,000 in Saudi Arabia, $960,000 in China, 1.6 million in UAE, 1.7 million in Japan, 2.5 million in Spain, 2.6 million in Italy, 3.3 million in the UK, 3.4 million in Hong Kong, 3.5 million in France, 3.5 million in Singapore, 4.3 million in Ireland, 5.1 million in the United States of America, 5.2 million in New Zealand, 5.5 million in Australia, and 6.6 in Switzerland. And the top country that you need the most money to be the number 1% in that country, which country would you assume that would be?
I'm stumped on this one. I'm gonna be real. I don't know.
Is it UAE?
Monaco. 12.4.
Oh, okay.
$12.4 million in order to be in the top 1%. For some perspective, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you at the Grand Prix.
So America is 5.1. You need a net worth.
What's the population
of America?
No, I know that. I'm saying Monaco.
What's the population of Monaco?
The per capita is probably, we got a lot more people than them. So
remember when I said you needed 28 million to be rich? You don't know. As a person,
you're gonna need that.
You're gonna need that. And this is for now. Wait till the next till Jerome Powell sits down and he don't come back like Howard Schultz. And inflation go money. Oh my God! Shout out to Andrew Schultz selling out the Garden too. That was good to see.
Yeah. That was. Yeah. I saw that. He was at the. They had the roast for Tom Brady on Netflix last night. He was part of that too out in LA.
Yeah. Shout out to Charlemagne. They got Shaka Bars on Breakfast Club. Make sure you check that out.
Go check that out. Shaka Bars.
Yes.
Salute. That's a legendary dude.
Salute.
So much I want to say, but shout out to Shaka Bars, yo.
Yeah.
Salute.
Yeah.
We got to get him on Blackout.
Oh, absolutely. A great idea. Great idea. That Congo conversation and
that's
in depth.
They created Dos Equis after that dude.
Shaka Bars. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe out there. Tap in. Wait for the next diss record to come.
Oh gosh.
Drake. Over under. Who's coming out next? Rashad, who you think? Who you got?
Who's dropping next?
Nah, I don't think nobody's gonna drop no more.
I think Drake responds again.
How you gonna respond again after he just responded?
He's gonna respond again. I just think he'll put the next record out.
That probably will be the worst thing that he could possibly do. The public is going just. He's gonna get. It's gonna be humiliating. Who
could he put on a song that would be on the side then? What ally could he get?
Nobody gonna get on the song. Nobody wants to get involved.
Maybe it's not a song. Maybe
nobody wants to get involved in that.
Maybe it's footage of something. He's gonna something will be coming from that camp. Something.
Drake, I think, goes on vacation, rides it out.
Back to Turks. Turks on 3.
Hell of a fight. You put up a hell of a fight. You got nothing to be ashamed of. Hold your head up high, Drake.
Yeah, Bron lost in the finals.
Kendrick was the better man.
Jay lost to Nas.
Yeah. That's it.
I'm not saying that he lost. I'm just saying that those things have happened to champions.
But Kendrick, you saying that Drake is winning?
I'm saying that he's down right now. You keep saying
I'm going
lost, like it's over, but he's down right now. I'm telling you that what put it over top for me was they're not like us. That I was like,
if Kendrick dropped this "Not Like Us" remix this week, maybe time to wrap it up.
I just know the next time somewhere that's gonna play. That's gonna play.
And don't y'all go to California crip walking and you don't got no affiliation.
Don't do none of that. Don't play with that.
You're gonna get beat up on your TikTok.
That's not a game. I think it's a game. Not a game.
Get rolled right down Hollywood Hills. You better stop.
Shout out to CB.
CB got one.
For real.
That Quavo thing ended pretty good. That was nasty.
CB got one.
That was nasty.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real.
Love y'all.